I thought it'd be lovely for us to share a book today, a story together. Now, you may know if you're in my class that my favourite author, sit nicely, sorry, my favourite author is Benji Davies, and he wrote The Storm Whale. He's written a lot of other books as well, but he wrote The Storm Whale. Yes, he did write The Storm Whale, didn't he, Tilly? Are you going to say hello to the year twos? Are you going to say hello? I've got no more treats. You're going to sit nicely? Good girl. He wrote The Storm Whale about the story of Noy, who found a whale and hid him in his bathtub. But his dad came along and said that whales don't belong in bathtubs, do they? No. So we had to put him back to sea, which came the next book where they went to try and find the storm whale again in the winter months. But today we are going to read a different book. We're going to read a book by Benji Davies called The Storm Whale. Now, no, we're not reading The Storm Whale. We're reading Grandma Bird. Now, if you notice, we've still got Noy in our story, but we've got a different character this time. However, the name of the book is called Grandma Bird. I think, using my predicting skills, Tilly, that Noy is Noy's grandma. Grandma Bird here. But I'm not sure. We're going to have to read on to find out. Let's have a look. Noy lived with his dad and 6 cats by the sea. It was summer and Noy was going to stay at Grandma's house. So, it's definitely about Noy's grandma. It was a long way to Grandma's house. She lived by herself on a tiny rock where the wind cut in and the grass grew sideways. I think it might grow sideways, you know, because the wind, so it might push the grass over. The only visitors were the birds who blew in and out on the breeze. Noy wasn't sure about Grandma. She boiled up seaweed for soup and kept her teeth in a jar. Teeth in a jar. At night they had to sleep top to tail. The blankets were itchy and Grandma snored like an old walrus. During the day, Grandma always seemed too busy with one thing or another, and she never had time to play. So one morning when the tide was out, Noy crept away. He hopped from rock to rock and patted over wet sand. Look, he's got his bucket and his net. I wonder what trouble he's going to get into. He dipped in and out of rock pools. Oh, I love when you can go rock pooling and you find lots of different creatures. Then he spotted something shimmering across the sand. Oh, like treasure. It was a great big rock full of holes. Noy weaved in and out and skipped around its edges. It was a castle, a tall ship, a smuggler's den. This must all be in his imagination, but that's cool, isn't it? It was a barnacled back of an ancient whale. Outside, the sky swirled black and grey. A storm was brewing. Oh dear, I don't like the sound of that. Noy listened as the sea thrashed against the rocks and rain began trickling down the walls. I don't think I'd like to be in that cave. Suddenly, with a flutter and a squawk, something tumbled out of the storm and landed in Noy's cave. Oh. It was a little bird, and it didn't look well. The tiny bird shivered in Noy's hands. He knew he must do something, and quickly. Maybe Grandma would know what to do. Grandmas do know a lot, don't they? I know my nan, she knows a lot. The tide had come in and it was hard to find a path across the rocks. Oh dear, I don't hope he doesn't get stuck. Noy hopped, jumped and leapt with all his might, but the storm blew him left and right. Noy wondered how would he ever make it back to Grandma's, when suddenly a sail came cutting across the sea. Oh, I recognise this boat from the front cover. Grandma! Shouted Noy. I've got you! Cried Grandma. She scooped them aboard. Thank goodness I found you, she said. Grandma had started searching for Noy as soon as she heard about the storm. That's a nice grandma, isn't it? As they sailed home, Noy and Grandma found more of the windswept birds. They must have been on a long journey together, said Grandma. The house was soon full of chatter and the ruffle of drying wings. Look at all the birds in the picture. Oh, it must be a very loud house that day. Once the storm had passed, the birds went on their way. Only Noy's bird didn't want to leave. I think he likes you, Grandma, said Noy. Oh, look at their house. Can anybody see what they think it is? It's the bottom of a ship, isn't it? It's not like our houses. That'd be cool. Noy wondered if Grandma ever felt lonely living by herself. They spent the rest of the summer together exploring every rock and shore. Look at them on their adventures. And Grandma's bird came too. I just love Benji Davies stories. I think they make me feel so warm and happy inside. They cheer me up. I hope you enjoyed that story. We might have some more later on. Are we going to say bye, Tilly? Should we say bye to the Year 2 children? Say bye. Bye, Year 2. Yeah? Good girl. Bye. Bye.